Bookie, what are you doing? What are you doing? That's perfect. Just what I wanted you to do, Wookie. Sit right in front of the camera. Hi guys, welcome to Rose and Jones. Thanks for clicking in. This is going to be just a little video of me, hopefully not waffling on too long. I've got some daylight for a change and I just fancied talking about some fragrances. These are the latest acquisitions that I've had within the last month. So it's like a mini haul. Well, not a mini haul, it's a haul. It's not really mini if you look at some of the fragrances here. But it is a haul and it's started, I think, at the beginning of December. So it's not that recent. But they are all the new additions that I have welcomed into my humble collection. So thank you for clicking in and thanks for joining me, and hopefully I won't waffle on too much. I don't have really any notes to hand, so this is going to be me just talking to you about what the fragrance smells like and this and that and yada yada. Let's start with Let the Dance Begin from La Perla. So those who may have seen a previous video, I did the house review on La Perla, and the one that I enjoyed the most was in fact Let the Dance Begin. I never loved it, but I did like it a lot and I did want a bottle, so you know, sometimes I can't help myself. Let the Dance Begin for me was really easy to wear, really approachable, and actually quite satisfying. It's kind of, what was it? It was quite a woody, creamy kind of a scent. There was a lot of cardamom, a nice spicy amount of cardamom. It was very approachable. It's quite a soft, easy scent. I think of it as like a beige coloured cardigan or shawl or something you wrap yourself in. Kind of neutral and versatile. That's how I think of this scent. It has a sort of slightly sort of milky foamy coffee thing going on, but very mild. There's definitely a lot of musk. It's quite a, I don't know much about musk. It's like a savoury woody musk, if that makes any sense. I do actually find this one quite satisfying. I quite like it. And I've worn it more than I thought I would. It doesn't look like I have at all, but I actually have. I find this quite easy to pick up and spray. So yeah, I'm happy I got that one. So next up is the Serge Lutens. This is my first ever Serge Lutens. I'm not familiar with the brand too much, but I know they're a classic. They're well loved, cult classic, and there's some really beautiful fragrances, I'm sure, in the house. This is the first one I've ever had any interest really in smelling, and it turns out that I'm over the moon with it. I bought a partial. This is not me going crazy. This is actually a partial I bought on eBay, and it's the rose. It's a rose dominant fragrance. Like I say, no notes to hand, but I do believe there is blackberry. Oh, what was it? Blackberry? I can't remember. Blackcurrant. Oh my goodness! It's a very simple beauty. This one, it really is very much about the rose, but it's not a sweet rose. This is not a gourmand rose. There's no real sugar aspect to this. It's actually quite a cold, it's quite a glassy rose, if that makes sense. I believe there might be an amber in here. Amber gives a kind of a shiny, glassy feel to a scent. If it's not the dominating note, it brings like a shiny effect, you know. So it's like a dark, glassy red wine rose fragrance, but very, very simple, quite fruity without being sugary. It's quite fruity. I find it quite fruity wine like. It has a sort of darkness, several darkness to it. A lot of people talk about it being very metallic and very sharp. I don't get that, luckily. That's not how it is on me, which I'm really pleased about. I understand what they mean. There is a cold, I suppose there is a bit of a metallic thing. I just find it feels finished. It feels like there's a surface on it, which I quite like. I like that it's very simple. I think there is patchouli in here. I think people get patchouli or they don't. I don't get a lot of patchouli in this at all, which is great actually, because I think rose and patchouli is kind of done to death. And patchouli really does dominate most of the time, but I don't find it does that in here at all. It really is about the rose coming forward and being very voluptuous but not sweet. Very elegant, very timeless, dark, fruity rose. And I'm really enjoying that one. So that is La Fille de Berlin. Next up we have my Christmas present from my husband. This is my Christmas Day present. I do love the House of Zoologist, and I get really excited when there's a new one released. I love knowing what animal they're going to pick next and how they're going to incorporate the environment and the different notes in that environment. It's a fragrance that was originally under a different brand. I won't go into it all, but it was by SP Parfums and it was called Powder and Dust, which I was very kindly given a decant of from Claire Smurfy Girly, and I really enjoyed Powder and Dust. It was very unusual, very addictive smelling, and finding out that they rebranded it, or they sold, I don't know the ins and outs of it, I won't go into it, but it is now Cockatiel. That same fragrance has become Cockatiel and it's now owned by Zoologist. And I will say that it does smell fluffy and yellow and bright, and it's quite a thick scent. It's a real thick, I do think it's a gourmand in my opinion. I get a rhubarb and custard feel from this. I believe it is centered around the mimosa as being the most dominant material or note in here. I mean, there's also champagne in here. You get all those things. I think the yellow, creamy, custardy mimosa flower is very much the star in this fragrance. The fruity nuances can come off as rhubarby, very pink smelling fruit, both sweet and sour, which is kind of why I'm thinking of it's being very rhubarby. It's a fun, a very addictive, lovely, intoxicating, thick, fluffy, beautiful fragrance. I think it does suit the Cockatiel really nicely. I've got the limited edition bottle here. My husband bought this from a fragrance company called 50ml.com, and they are fantastic. I think they're based in Milan, but they are really fantastic, and they do very competitive prices. Was available luckily on 50ml. I don't think they do all of them. I'm not sure how they stock in. I don't know if it's a grey market site or not, I'm not sure, but they're very good. They're very efficient and they have a good service. So luckily they did actually house Cockatiel, and it was the limited edition one, and it was a very good price as well for the limited edition. So I'm so pleased I've got this one. The bottle is absolutely, and I love these bottles from Zoologist. They feel lovely in the hand. They're very heavy, very tactile. The lids are beautiful. They have the emblem on the top, and obviously the artwork speaks for itself. Beautifully designed. Yeah, just adorable, really beautiful, very classy and unique. So that is Cockatiel. Fragrance I got more recently was one by Killian, and this is their repackaged Princess. I don't need a princess by my side to be a princess, or just princess if you're on the clock. So it's repackaged. I've always wanted to try Princess. I like how it's been described as a matcha marshmallow fragrance. It always sounded really inviting and exciting. I hated the previous packaging, absolutely hated it, and I've got to say I am very influenced by, I know it sounds superficial, but I'm very influenced by the packaging as well as the fragrance. It's a complete experience for me. But I've always wanted to try it anyway. It's actually a blind buy, so I haven't tried this before I bought it, but I did have a sample. It was very kindly sent to me by my friend Jon Snow, who also has a channel here on YouTube. I think everyone knows him by now anyway. So Jon sent me a sample of a limited edition one that was the rose version of Princess. It was a rose one. I think it was I don't even remember it actually ever being out. It must be a very briefly on the market, I don't know. But that is lovely. That's lovely. I'd love to have that. But that's obviously, like I say, that's been discontinued now. And I got a good enough feel from that sample of what Princess is from the marshmallowy side of things. So I went ahead and blind bought Princess directly from the Killian.co.uk. So it's from the more affordable range. It's still not cheap, but it's certainly more affordable than most of their fragrances. And I'm really happy with this. I have been using it quite a bit. It's very easy fragrance to wear. It's actually quite light. It's a lot lighter than I thought it was going to be. It doesn't have a huge projection. It's not got a huge personality. It's a gentle, wafting, satisfyingly quite Moorish sort of scent. I get a lot of the marshmallow, I do. The matcha doesn't present itself too dominantly. It's not like a big green scent. I find the matcha comes across like a very subtle, earthy, sweet way, and it makes me think of cookie dough briefly in the composition. At first it's all about this sort of marshmallow, a dusting of marshmallow. It's very light, but as you wear it I get like a bit of a, oh, it's just started raining. I get like a cookie dough background, very subtle, but it gives it a little bit of interest. It's not just sweet sugary marshmallow, and I'm finding it really satisfying. I'd like it to project a little bit more if I'm honest, but I like it. I'm very pleased with it. and I'm enjoying it very much. This is the kind of fragrance that I seem to be gravitating towards at the moment. These sort of very soft, slightly edging on being gourmand, very soft sort of fragrances. I just find them so easy and approachable and very enjoyable. So that is Princess, and I'm extremely happy with my little blind purchase. So the last fragrance I have here is, well, it's not the last one, but it's the last full bottle anyway. Well, partial. It's a repurchase. This is actually a repurchase. I had Roses and Chocolate from Mancera for a few years, and I always found it very fun, very unusual, very synthetic, but there was just something about it that was, I don't know, I just enjoyed wearing it. And then I just suddenly went off it. I suddenly found it not agreeable. Perhaps I was sniffing it at the wrong time of the year. It is a strange one from Mancera. Don't expect to have Roses and Chocolate in a straight full-on gourmand luscious chocolate rose Turkish delight kind of thing. It really is not like that at all. The rose is soapy. It's a soapy, yeah, very soapy rose. It almost gives me that feeling of washing up liquid when a bubble bursts under your nose. It's got that kind of soap feeling. The chocolate is a powdery milk chocolate to my nose. So imagine that combination of powdery milk chocolate, like powdered cocoa, with a soapy rose. It's really a weird combination to try and imagine. But if you can imagine it, then you'll probably end up with a scent like this. It's very strange. But despite that, it's not too strong. It's just weird. But I find it fun. I find it enjoyable. I find it nice of an evening. I like smelling it in the evening. It's got this little bit of lift, a little bit of playful personality, and I enjoy it. And I missed it. I missed having it. And I had my little sample that I kept back, and I kept sniffing it, thinking, oh, I do actually really like this, you know. And there was a seller on eBay, luckily. That's where I live most of the time, on eBay, selling their partial bottle. So I snatched it up, and I thought, well, because there's not many available now, I think, of Roses and Chocolate. So I snatched it up, and I'm so pleased that I did, because I'm really happy to have this back. I really am. This one's leaking a little bit. I've noticed leaking. If you can see, it's like a pink around the bottom of that nozzle. Yeah, I wouldn't want to blind buy this if you haven't tried it before. But like I say, if you like a challenge and you find it intriguing what soapy rose and powdery chocolate could be like, then give it a go. That is Roses and Chocolate from Mancera. I also want to mention a decant I bought around Christmas time on eBay. This is One Umbrella for Two from the house of Florecu, sorry. I've always wanted a bottle of this. It's because it is, in my eyes, in my nose, very much a straight up gourmand, quite heavy. I don't think I'd ever need a bottle of this. I don't think I'd want it very often. This is one of them ones you might crave. Well, at me, I crave it every now and again. So I don't ever need a bottle of this. But luckily, I think it was from the Harrods Advent calendar. There was a lot of these decants in that calendar, and people were selling them separately, and which is, you know, great for people that just want a decant like me. And this was pretty good price, considering that a 10ml, an official 10ml decant of One Umbrella for Two, I think is it about £80 or something? This was £25. This was obviously full up when I bought it. I've worn a lot of it. I have worn a lot of it because it's been lovely for around the Christmas period. It's very Moorish. People say it smells like blueberry muffins. I would have to agree with that. I get less of the muffin, more of the blueberry. It's fluffy, warm, definitely warm out of the oven, kind of a blueberry muffin kind of scent. There's a type of tea in here, maybe it's not matcha, which gives it a sort of very light, earthy, quite a classy, earthy kind of a scent. It's very well balanced. It's very well done. I know this is a popular fragrance, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm pleased to have my little decant. That'll probably see me through for quite some time, because I'm not going to be reaching too much more now for heavier gourmands. Now we're coming into, well, not really into spring yet, but I'm already starting to feel like wearing more sort of floral, uplifting, aromatic kind of fragrances. So this probably get put away now. I think for £25 for what is quite an expensive fragrance, that was actually a pretty good deal. So that was One Umbrella for Two. There should have been another fragrance here. I bought it a couple of weeks ago and it still hasn't arrived. Unfortunately, it's coming from Spain, which I didn't realise when I bought it. I was quite overzealous in clicking the buy button. And it was a fragrance that I got a sample of kindly from Claire Smith. She sent me a sample. She sent me samples of all of the three from Reminiscence, the gourmand. I can't remember the line that they're called, but they're the three gourmands. It's Heliotrope, there is Guimauve, and then there's Dragé. And I bought a bottle of Dragé because I thought it was beautiful. Again, it's that kind of marshmallow. I'm obviously in the mood for this sort of marshmallow, dusty, approachable, friendly, cute fragrances. And I bought Dragée. I thought it was beautiful. It's an orange blossom marshmallowy scent, but it's not like Love Don't Be Shy. It's very soft, it's very playful, and it almost has like like a rubbery plasticky feel to it. But it reminds me of the 80s toys, the scent you used to have with those toys from the 80s, like dollies and figurines. I had that kind of scent. It reminds me of that, but it's done in a really nice way. So I wanted to just quickly mention that I would have had that in this fragrance video, but it hasn't arrived, so I'm getting impatient for that one. So yeah, that is it. That's my little haul. It's my little roundup of what I'm enjoying currently and what is new to my collection, and that is all. Thank you so much for watching as always, and I'll see you on my next one. Happy New Year. Over and out.